We are Steve and Jill.
Together, we've been buying and reselling land since the 90s.
Our data-centric approach leaves our buyers asking, how can you sell it so cheap?
Here on the Land Academy Show,
We answer that and more. I'm Stephen Jack Butala.
And I'm Jill DeWit, and this is the Land Academy Show.
This is episode number 2205. Today, Jill and I are talking about what the next 10 years of land investing might look like.
Excuse me, he was doing some manual labor for me real quick, so I am fixing your collar.
Actually.
It was really nice of you. I'm like, baby, can you help me with this? It's too heavy. And you just pop up and help me. Thank you.
Because I want it to end.
Oh. No, it's not. You were...
No, I want the task to end.
You're no, because you're
That's
just
out of love.
It was a loving partner thing, and I appreciate that. Thank you. So what are we talking about today?
10 years from now,
yeah.
what is this business that we're in going to look like?
Oh,
Let's look.
I have some ideas.
I do too.
I have some. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna write right now. I'm gonna write what I think is gonna happen, and what I wish would happen.
Yeah.
Because this is gonna be. Oh, it's gonna be good.
So here's a spoiler alert, and we'll take a question first. The industry, there's other industries like the stock market where we can look back on what they looked like, not 10 years ago, but a lot of years ago. And we're in that situation now. We're in that cresting curve where stock prices were in the daily Wall Street Journal. Mm-hmm. Each day on the show, we answer a question from our Land Academy member Discord forum and take a deep dive into land-related topics by your request.
All right, Slade wrote, I'm buying a 1-acre lot for $10,000 local to me in Pennsylvania. Local to me, okay, the seller is an older gentleman in Florida. So the lot is near Slade. The seller happens to be in Florida. I'm using a closing company, and they called the seller asking for his social security number and photos of his driver's license, but he refuses to give it. What would you do? I'm going to try to persuade him, but what if he doesn't budge? I have about $2,000 already in the property for perk testing. Okay, I can understand both where they're coming from. The closing company, aka title company, they are hyper alert about fraud, and I agree with that. Now, I would not so sure I would share my social security number. I hate that stuff, so I can understand that. But I can see them asking for driver's license numbers to verify, he is the owner on record before they even send a notary out, because we all know the notary is going to have them show the ID at that time. But they're confirming that he does own the property. So this is a tough one. This
is the world that we live in now.
Yeah.
It's not just escrow companies. Jill and I are we're getting educated right now. This is almost mid 2025. About how much information banks and brokerage companies and all of that really want to collect when you're transacting with money.
True.
And some of it's mandated by the new financial center, federal government. There is an anti-money laundering operation. Some of it's because whatever escrow company that was chosen here and whoever, they are overly cautious. Mm-hmm. Maybe they're control freaks. Maybe they're just love to be in charge.
Could be any one of those things.
I started buying properties in the 90s, and nobody cared about any of this.
Right.
No one. So, but I don't think those were the good old days. I think there's some of it's reasonable. I know that if I just went to another escrow company, they're not going to ask me for this stuff.
True.
And that's what everybody said in Discord, Joe.
That was my thoughts. I hate to pivot and go somewhere else, but you could. That'd be fine. And at the end of the day, if it were me, I'm okay with my ID. I have to show it to my notary anyway, and they always take a picture of it. So they've got it. So, and the title company can have that. That's fine. But the social security number, it could be to tax purposes.
Yeah.
So, sometimes at closing, they make us ask for our EIN. It could be my social, but it's our business EIN.
Which we give away like water.
I know, I hate that too.
The EIN?
Not like that. No, I don't like it.
I don't care about that.
No, but some require it, some don't. It just depends on the company, and they're just trying to protect, the seller. So that would be the other thing too. I would first talk to them and go, what do you guys really need and why? And then, And they'll say, let me see what I can do with the seller. Okay, we all know you don't need the seller. Well, it's a form of verification that he's who he says he is. Well, what other form of verifications can we use? Can you supply this? Can you supply that? Can you just answer the questions? Like you have to go and, when you apply for a new bank account, it makes you click on these things. Does this address make sense to you? So maybe there's another verification process that we could do that the seller is okay with. And then if worse comes to worse, then the next option is pivot to another company. And then it should work. That would solve it. I have other options, but I'm not going to go there.
It's a $10,000 property.
Yeah.
If it was a commercial, warehouse, 75,000 square foot warehouse, then there's a different story. That's a different story where you have a lawyer and stuff. And so, no, I don't understand this. I'm going to tell a personal story. I just got back from the bank just now.
I was going to ask how that went.
And Jill and I have active LLCs and passive LLCs, and some of them have bank accounts, some of them don't. They're all tied to one major bank account, and 99.999% of the time, everything's great. So we got an adjustment prorated check from a closing in an old LLC. Wasn't too old, and it was tied to the bank account, and that went fine.
We still have an active LLC in that name.
No, I'm sorry, active bank account.
Okay, got it.
All right, we do have an active bank account. We just don't have debit cards and stuff.
Correct.
So for those reasons, I went in and was sent to the manager. And the manager, she could not have been nicer. Oh. She could not have been a nicer person. We got along great. And so while we're doing this stuff and depositing the checks and she's printing the receipts, she said, please sign this at the end. And so it was texted to me. And so I read through what I was signing, and what I was signing was, I was consenting to the bank to share my personal information, my bank account information, to unrelated third parties so that they could provide services that they believed that I needed. I am almost quoting. That's how direct it was. And
Did you say I'm not signing this?
I said I got to tell you. I can't consent to this because I just read it to her. And she said, oh, no, that's fine. That's just so ADP can call you and set up payroll for a new company that you start.
Well, I already have ADP.
That's what I said. Hold on. Jill's got steam coming out of her ears.
Oh, no.
I said, we are all set on this. The money that we have in these operational accounts goes to a different place, and we have a whole system. And so she just wouldn't let it go. I said, you know what? I guess we're going to have to undo the deposits, and I'll figure it out. And so she said, oh, that's okay. Bang, bang, bang. Everything was fine.
Wow.
So it's not her. And it's not this title agent that's telling you that you need all this stuff. It's somebody above them and above that person and above that person, usually lawyers, that are saying, we have to sign everything now. And here's the real tragedy.
I can't even just deposit the money.
Yes, that's right. Here's the real tragedy. This is the world we live in.
True.
Our children, none of them would even read that.
True.
That is bang, 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 got it.
And then wonder why their phone's blowing up.
And then we all wonder why our phone rings for 2 years straight from somebody like ADP, as a salesperson from ADP is a payroll processing company.
Yeah.
So and I'm sure that I got in the car and I started thinking this. My parents were saying terrible stuff about the 1970s and 80s, and their parents were saying terrible stuff about the 1950s and 60s. So it's not unique to our time or unique to it's not these people that are forced to deliver these things to us. It's just technology, and lawyers want to make sure you're out of compliance.
It's ridiculous. Anyway.
I wouldn't do it, man. I wouldn't give a social security number. No. Look, they want information so that they can give you a 1099-S. That's what's going on. That's what
they're trying to do. Exactly.
Or maybe 1099-I. Today's topic, what is the next 10 years of land investing? What do they look like? Or what might they look like?
Go.
This question, I put this in this episode intentionally because we have 20 years ago, maybe even 30 years ago, when you wanted to buy a share of stock, you would open the Wall Street Journal. In the back was the stock numbers. Every single company that was on the stock market had a closing price from last night. And if you wanted to buy a share of that stock, you would look at the closing price. You would call your broker maybe before the stock market's open the next day, and then you would buy. You would say this share
Put in
price
your
is
order.
good. Yeah, put an order in, and a broker would say, "I'll see if I can get it sold on the floor." I'm not sure. There's no computers. It wasn't computerized. Then it finally did go computerized, where you could, but you still had to use a broker. It's so different now. Now you just put an order in, and the computer does it for you, and it's immediate, almost immediate most of the time. The kicker is this: the stock market would be traded by 1/8 decimals or 1/8 fractions. Now it's not that at all; it's percentages, and that changed the entire. It opened the door to day trading, and so we are in a point where we're going from fractions to decimals in the stock market. We have gotten away with amazing profit margins, buying all types of real estate and reselling it without improving it, just buying it for less than it's worth right now.
So what does that mean? I didn't catch.
In the next 10 years,
Yeah. What do you think is going to happen?
the market will become, I was getting to that, the market will become more efficient. In fact, so efficient that when someone, this is my prediction, when someone wants to sell their house, they're going to log into a database and they're going to say, yes, I do want to sell my house. Here's the price. And fill out a form, and it goes into something like the NASDAQ.
I know, like KBB.
Yes.
So you think,
Like
and
Kelly-
I think that's
KBB.
right. Like you're going to be able to put in your year that it was built, the square footage.
It's
Actually,
already-
you know what I bet?
It's already all there.
That doesn't say you won't even have to put that in. You will put in your address or your APN. You know, you'll put that in there.
Yeah.
It's going to know all the stats, and it hopefully will cross-reference the stats with a couple different places, like your insurance company and the assessor. So it knows the square footage is correct. It'll check listen to me, probably check the county, see if you pulled any permits to kind of get an idea, if you
Liens,
added on to
all of
it,
that.
anything like that. Then you will have the opportunity, like KBB, to put in the condition.
What's KBB, Joe?
The Kelly Blue Book.
Can you explain?
Oh.
You just keep saying KBB, and
Doesn't everybody know what KBB is?
I don't think so.
Sorry.
And it's
I
a
know-
different industry.
I'm sorry. KBB is where you go if you want to know what your car's worth. Isn't that what you do? And you see the dealer pricing, you see the private party pricing, you see, if you were to trade it in pricing, retail pricing. That's Kelly Blue Book. Like, I was raised on that, and I still use it as a reference to see what I think cars are worth, right? Not what people are willing to pay, like for sale right now on, autotrader.com, but I use that as a gauge too. So I'm sure there's going to be a version of that. So it'll cross-reference a couple things. So from there, then I believe sellers will be able to put, like in KBB on for your car, is it excellent condition, good condition, fair condition? I would hope that you could maybe even upload pictures. Like, here's what I did to the kitchen, and it can, authenticate, yeah, that's beautiful. You have all Wolf appliances now and whatever, congratulations. Now it's worth that much more, something like that. So that will help. Here's the thing. That will help sellers/owners try to identify a value for their asset /house/ however. There's always there's always extenuating circumstances that cause people, thank goodness, to need the dough and want to sell really fast, and some of that stuff goes out the window. I know my house is worth $325,000. I'm letting it go for $275 because I need the dough right now. I don't want to wait.
That's
And
right.
I'm not going to pay a commission.
There's always a range.
Right. So that, I think, I do believe that. I think things like that's going to happen. It'll be easier for people to assess. I hope it's going to get easier for people to sell. Maybe that'll be a thing too. I don't even know. I'm dreaming it up. Someday there probably would be a place that everybody just enters in their address and just sits and waits, and it goes out. Like moving companies. You call a moving company, and you know what it is. It's really somebody sitting, in a dashboard, and they're sending out messages to 20 different long-term movers to get back bids, and then they take a piece of it, and then they submit to you the best bid to move all your furniture and your cars across country. Same thing.
Let me summarize what she's saying.
I feel like it could happen with a house as well. I think I'm saying it okay.
Well, there's a summary. So
well, why?
Because there's a lot of steps. There were a lot of steps that happened in buying and selling a share of stock, and a lot of people got in the middle of that until the market became efficient on the internet. Perfectly efficient, where you put a stock order in and it gets sold. There's a buyer and a seller on each end of the transaction. But there were stockbrokers and all kinds of crazy stuff that happened throughout time because of technology, telephones and all of that, before it became efficient. So everything that Jill's saying is absolutely going to happen. It's what we need to be concerned about is what happens between now and that market efficiency time. That's where the money's made. That's where the money's made, right?
How things are getting figured out. There's a good time right now. You know what I wish would happen? Things about the next 10 years. I wish I wrote bye-bye agents. Talking about people getting in the way. I'm not kidding. I mean,
car
seriously.
salesmen.
Well, yeah, you don't need them. I think everybody now knows I can go and buy and sell my own fill in the blank. It could be a car. It could be a house. It could be a piece of furniture. You could do it by yourself, and I love that. And so the only thing is too about agents is because I put at least the stagnant ones. It used to be all you had to do was get the listing and just sit back and wait. And now we've experienced this personally, where there's listing agents that are unfortunately causing homes not to sell. I have 2 examples in the last 90 days of properties that I tried to buy, and the agent's like, no, I don't think that they would like that offer, and they don't even submit the offer to the seller. Like, could I press charges? Probably. Am I going to? No, it's not my. It's not my problem. It's the poor person who hired that agent. They have no idea that agent is stopping 10 people at the door because they, for whatever reason, and then and not selling their property. I don't get it. So I do hope that goes away.
The moral of the story is here: please take advantage of these inefficient markets while they exist.
True.
Especially if you're very young, you're going to see massive changes in how assets change hands, specifically cars and real estate.
Good point.
Join us tomorrow where Jill and I discuss succeeding in a market everyone says is too crowded. These topics are kind of related all this week. You are not alone in your real estate ambition.
We are Jack and Jill.
Information
and inspiration
to buy undervalued property.
We hope you found our content valuable, and we appreciate your support. If you have not already, please check out our channel and hit the subscribe button.
And your comments and suggestions help us to create the content you're here for. Hitting the like button helps to support our channel's algorithm and gauge your interest for future shows.